we run errands, and that could mean whether that be dropping something off at the post office, whether that be buying something at the store, maybe grocery store, maybe you gotta stock up on some home goods, maybe that's picking somebody up or dropping somebody off. So my experience with errands definitely started when I would say when I first started college, because before then, I mean, errands, I was basically um, I wouldn't say at the mercy of my mom, but I would say that um, I would go run errands when my mom was there. So I'd go to the grocery store, we'd go to Target, we'd go to Walmart, all these basic stores, and so those were the kind of errands. But when I got older, and actually into high school, when I started to do the shopping myself at the grocery store, I um, I started to realize I guess the essentials of errands. So I started, I think, around when I was at the university, when I started that first semester there. And what ended up happening was with the errands I ran, it would basically be donations. A lot of it would be donation work. So I got used to doing it back in high school, where I was donating a lot to the Boys and Girls Club. I would donate, toys, mostly toys actually, my old stuff that I had, and so I donated a lot of my toys that I had, like the board games, the kind of erector sets, the toy cars that I had, and a lot of stuff. The funny thing is, we had kept, even though we intended to give that away. So I wanted to finally actually find a home for it for some kids to use. It's not. I didn't give away all my toys, but I gave away the stuff that I had used enough, the stuff that I decided to give away when I was even younger, but mostly stuff that I had used for myself up to the point that I didn't need it anymore. Like I played with it enough, I built the set, and I realized somebody else could utilize this. And also save some space, mostly save some space in my room, because when you're living uh, at home, with your parents or your grandparents, you have basically one room that is your own, entirely your own. Whereas if you're living in your own house, you have your whole house to fill up. So it's a little bit different. So that's an errand that I tend to run every so often, um, primarily as a good deed. I also donate a lot to my high school. Even though I graduated high school, I find myself going back to the campus because of how much of an impact that last year had on my entire life. And so I want to keep giving back what I can to the school. And what I usually do is I donate toys. I usually donate Japanese stuff to the Japanese Culture Club, and actually for a while I was donating stuff to the psychologist, which I began seeing in my 11th grade year to fix some stuff up here, and she did an amazing job, and I really discovered myself and improved 360 degrees. There's no doubt about it. Where I was at that time to where I am today, I can't even imagine. It's amazing the transformation you can do when. So, my advice is be persistent and be determined about where you want to be in terms of your mental health goals, and keep going there. And so that way you have something to look forward to, and then you can look back all these years later and you're like, wow, I'm glad I didn't give up on myself and I kept working hard. And so that's why over the years, past couple of years, I've donated books that I've read that have helped me significantly, and that I hope that another student who's going through the same challenges can learn from that book, and that resource, as well as the many quotes that I wrote on my mental chewing gum wall. I decided to donate those as well because I had incorporated those into my life already, and I realized that maybe somebody else could draw the same inspiration of creating personalized quotes to improve on mental health. And so, donating is a lot of time what I do with errands. Also, recycling bottles. It's kind of funny to take that on the bus. My advice is you might be concerned about the way you look in terms of when you bring bottles on the bus. I mean, homeless people do it, but actually not just homeless people. I would say even families, you can go to the transit station and there are people digging in trash cans for bottles because they realize you can get money for that. And so I honestly think it's kind of entrepreneurship, to be honest, and collecting those bottles. It takes a lot of work, and the amount of money you get, I don't know if it's the trade-off, right? Because hey, I didn't buy those bottles, and so I'm getting money for it. But is that effort that you're putting in worth the time and that you're getting for the money? And so I remember when I first started recycling bottles on the bus, I'd bring basically trash bags, and it would be huge, the like hefty bags, right? Big size, and let's just say the bus drivers sometimes were not very happy that I was, because I took up a whole seat with that, but I wanted to take it at once because I didn't want to have to break it down and be constant, right? If I could do it all at once, then that would be awesome. But over time, I kind of realized the error of my ways, and I decided to carry it more discreetly. So that way, sometimes there can be bugs in the bottles, especially if they've been outside. Sometimes there's a little bit of juice in there. So I decided to be a bit more cautious about that. And so sometimes over the past couple of years, I've tried to recycle bottles, but it does take time, and I've seen that less and less. And other errands that I tend to run would be grocery shopping, which is essential. You have to have something to eat at home, and I tend to plan that. It depends actually. Sometimes I would go early on in my college career. I would go during the week, and so I'd have my backpack with me as I go into the grocery store. So I'd put it in a shopping cart, and I think I was probably the only, I don't know, maybe the only one with a backpack. But hey, women carry purses, so why not men carry backpacks? I mean, it has all my, women usually have, like makeup stuff in their purses, and basically what you need. So my backpack is essentially focuses on the same thing. I have uh, uh, kind of cosmetic stuff in terms like lotion and chapstick and water and the type of typical stuff you carry around. It'd be kind of hard though, because you're carrying two bags of groceries and then you're also your backpack on, so kind of look like you're traveling uh, different locations. So my advice is maybe get a car instead of the bus, because carrying groceries on the bus is a little bit of balancing act, especially taking up space when the bus is really crowded. So my advice is be mindful of that, and so you have that, and also I run errands, not just groceries, but going to like Home Depot, Lowe's, buy stuff to fix the house up because it's falling apart, and I'd buy, the type of home stuff, soap, shampoo. I bought, nail clippers or health items, and that's kind of an errand I tend to run. I recycle plastic too, not for any money, but just for environmental purposes, trying to mitigate my landfill output. That way, I can help with the environment. And another thing I tend to do, I used to do, is I'd go over to my mom's house and help out with the gardening and also, yeah, mostly a lot of the gardening. And so I did that, I would say, throughout last year, I was doing that. And I also picked up trash in the area when I was kind of running errands. That was one of the things, primarily because I wanted to um, uh, help with the yard. As well as help out the area, because the area where she was, it's not a very nice area per se. There's a lot of graffiti, there's a lot of litter, there's also some drug activity going on in the area. Um, and I don't remember that being the case when I was younger, but things change in terms of how you perceive the world as you get older and more experience happens. And so I wanted to make a difference. Also write articles too about that. And so another errand I did was, yeah, I did a lot of article writing, getting stories out there by taking pictures in the community, and that took quite a lot of time. I'd be like devote a whole day to that, and it's super fun actually to go out there and do stories. Um, so yeah, I would do that. Usually it's like donate stuff. whether it be to the school or to. I also did. I donated food before it expired, to the food pantry over. It's Catholic Charities. They collect food donations. Sometimes it'd be like I have to pay for a bus pass. That's one of the errands to do list items. I've had experiences where it's literally the end of the month and you kind of put it off to the side. You're like, oh, I'll take care of this, and then it's like the first of the month, and you go on the bus, and you basically don't have any money on the card because you didn't renew your card, so you end up having to pay for this bus trip. So I've had that happen to me before. My advice is do get the bus pass early so that way you don't have to worry about that. Also, pay tuition. That's a college thing you got to do. Is usually depends on what type of tuition plan you have. Sometimes it's pay little by little, which is a great idea. That's an awesome um, payment plan that they have at universities, is where you pay little by little, and that way you can basically work for it, and over time it comes in. And that's a really good idea. I like that. And other than that, I would say that um, other errands would be yeah, like grocery shopping, um, just shopping in general, clothes shopping. Sometimes clothes don't last forever. What I realized shopping for myself, usually I shop at Ross. Basically grew up shopping there. You can get like literally name brands. You can get Calvin Klein. You can get Polo. Whether it be Ralph Lauren or U.S. Polo Association. You can get I think you can get Izod there. Um, Levi's I've gotten there. The more I shop for myself, it's actually kind of fun because you can see the brands, popping tags. So you can get, for example, I've gotten polo shirts. Usually it's Ralph Lauren. Actually, Ralph Lauren's a bit more expensive, but like for example, I think that yeah, U.S. Polo Association was one. Uh, what else? I've gotten shorts there. Um, Different brands you can get. It's pretty nice quality wise. It's a hit or miss. Um, what I've noticed is polos last pretty long, except you have to check the material because sometimes the material can be very thin, and so the holes start coming in, which I'm surprised by. It's like I had the shirt for maybe like 3 4 months, and then all of a sudden I start to see fraying, and then there's little holes start to come in. I've noticed that with my pants too. Uh, the holes kind of started to get there in some of the shorts that I've had. Um, Other than that, I would say shop for belts too. That's an important thing when you buy. One thing when you start shopping for yourself, when you buy clothes, is careful for the size, because you could buy a size too big and then you end up wearing shorts that are basically falling down. So having a belt is very important. I think I've oh yeah, I shopped for a wallet too because my wallet was looking. I had that wallet for like seven. No, maybe 5 6 years, and it's made out of paper. It was pretty amazing because it was a recycled wallet, so it was. They probably use like old paper or different paper products that get recycled and into this, and it held up amazing. But I think I got a leather wallet from Walmart for pretty cheap, so that was pretty awesome. Looks really nice, has great card holders. But yeah, that's one of the errands I run. Library. When I was going to the library a lot, I used to check out CDs, movies sometimes. But the rental period can be very um, it's like a week. So if you have school and you have classes, it's a little bit tricky to try to turn it in on time. You get fees basically. So you end up well, you have to pay the piper, and it's tricky to balance that out, to say the least. But it was definitely fun to go to the library, read some newspapers, get some CDs to listen to, which unfortunately CD sales are going down in favor of digital sales and streaming. So I do that. I'd what else I do? Oh yeah, visit my grandma's friend. drop off some artwork. So I think running errands, my advice is to keep an eye on it because sometimes those errands can build up. So it feels like each time I do errands that I have like a whole laundry list to do. And like today I just ran a whole bunch of errands and sometimes it feels like there's a lot to do and I don't know if I'm stuffing myself with too many to-do list items in one day. My advice is be careful for the winter because the short days can really creep up on you. So it's like 4 o'clock and it's getting dark. Whereas if you were to run errands in the summer, you could go be out until like 8:30. So 4 hours more. And so I ended up leaving about 12 o'clock, and I the transportation takes a bit of time, but as long as you know the bus system, if you're going on the bus, you can hop on and off. And if you know the city well, then that's even better because you can easily maneuver around. So I was thinking the other day when I was in San Diego, I'm not too familiar with the bus system down there, so it can kind of be a whirlwind, especially on a Sunday when the bus schedules are even, they cut them down even more. It's really tricky to get to different places. But my advice is, yeah, to keep track of those errand items. Don't let the payment stuff get ahead of you because what can end up happening is you end up saying, "Oh yeah, I'll take care of this," and then you end up basically racking on more fees, whether that be the library fines or whether that be tuition, whether that be paying for the bus pass. Just keep an eye on that. Another piece of advice would be to, I guess, prioritize um, what you need. Um, think about the items beforehand and write down a list of what you want to buy at the store. And make sure you have water if you're walking a lot. Make sure you have everything you need when you go out, especially on the bus. Doing errands on a bus is probably not as convenient as a car because you can actually put stuff in your back seat or in your trunk. Um, but yeah, that's my advice for that. And errands can be actually kind of fun because it's a sense of accomplishment. You can look back on your day and say, "Hey, I did some good stuff today. I donated things. I spent some time with people who need company. I got things I needed to improve my quality of life." That's something that I've been championing in my head is improving my quality of life so that way I can live easier and if any problem happens, I'm prepared. So I hope that guys that hoped bleh, I hope that helped you guys out. And this is Random Stuff with Alex Hughes signing off.